Reality isn't what most people think. Quantum physics shows that particles literally change their behavior when observed. Our consciousness shapes the physical world in ways that mainstream science is only beginning to understand.
That's a pretty bold claim. What exactly do you mean by consciousness shaping reality?
Well, let me share something fascinating from the double-slit experiment. When scientists observe quantum particles, they actually behave differently than when unobserved. It's like reality itself responds to our attention.
That sounds more like philosophy than hard science. Do we have concrete evidence for this?
Oh, we absolutely do. Beyond quantum mechanics, neuroscience shows us through the reticular activating system that our brains literally filter reality based on our beliefs and expectations. You know how when you buy a new car, you suddenly see that model everywhere.
Well, that's just because you're paying more attention to it, though, right?
That's what most people think, but here's where it gets interesting. Your brain is actually creating your perceived reality by choosing what to show you based on your beliefs and focus. And this filtering happens before you're even consciously aware of it.
So you're saying our beliefs actually shape what we're capable of perceiving? That's pretty mind-bending.
Exactly. And here's something even more fascinating. Research shows that our thoughts and emotions have measurable electromagnetic frequencies. Higher frequency emotions like gratitude and joy actually expand possibilities, while lower ones like fear and doubt collapse them.
That reminds me of those studies about positive thinking. But I've tried that stuff before, and it didn't really work.
Well, here's the thing, positive thinking alone is actually pretty useless, and that's because about 95% of our mental processing happens at the subconscious level. If your subconscious is programmed for limitation, no amount of surface level positivity will override that.
So, how do we actually change those deeper patterns? It seems like they'd be pretty hard to access.
The key is understanding that your heart plays a huge role in this. The Heart Math Institute has shown that the heart generates an electromagnetic field 60 times greater than the brain. When you align your heart and mind through genuine emotion, that's when reality starts shifting.
That's fascinating about the heart's electromagnetic field. But how do we practically apply this knowledge?
Well, let me walk you through the process. First, you need to identify your limiting beliefs. Those subconscious programs running in the background. Write them down, question them, and consciously choose new ones.
Could you give an example of how that works?
Let's say you have a belief that money is hard to come by. Instead of just trying to think positive thoughts about money, you'd examine where that belief came from, challenge its validity with evidence, and then create a new belief like money flows easily when I'm aligned with my purpose.
That makes sense in theory, but what about taking actual steps in the real world?
This is where most people get stuck. They think it's either all about internal work or all about action. The truth is, you need both. Start with small actions that align with your new beliefs while maintaining that higher emotional frequency we talked about.
You know what's interesting? This reminds me of how athletes use visualization before competitions. They're essentially creating their reality before it happens.
That's exactly right. Studies show that athletes who visualize their performance actually activate the same neural pathways as when they physically perform. The brain doesn't distinguish between vivid imagination and reality.
So what happens when people try this but don't see immediate results? That's usually when most give up.
Well, that's where understanding the law of reversal becomes crucial. Most people wait for external proof before they believe something is possible. But quantum physics shows us that consciousness precedes reality. You have to embody the change first.
How do you maintain that belief when everything around you seems to contradict it?
That's where most people struggle. They let current circumstance dictate their internal state. Instead, you need to maintain that higher frequency, regardless of external conditions. Think of it like tuning a radio. You have to stay on the right frequency to receive the right broadcast.
You mentioned earlier about the heart's electromagnetic field. Could you explain more about how that works?
The heart's electromagnetic field extends several feet from your body and actually affects the people and environment around you. When you're in a state of coherence, meaning your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned, this field becomes more organized and powerful.
That's incredible. It's like we're all walking energy transmitters.
And receivers too. This is why being aware of your emotional state is so crucial. Every emotion has a measurable frequency. Gratitude vibrates at 540 MHz, while fear operates at just 100 MHz. You're literally broadcasting your frequency into the quantum field.
So, what's the most effective way to maintain those higher frequencies consistently?
The key is creating new neural pathways through consistent practice. Start each day by generating the feeling of already having what you want. Then take one small action in alignment with that feeling. Over time, this becomes your new normal.
That makes me wonder about all the times I might have unconsciously created negative experiences.
Well, here's the good news. Once you understand these principles, you can't unknow them. You start to catch yourself when you're operating from those lower frequencies and can consciously choose to shift.
It's like having a new pair of glasses that lets you see how reality actually works.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't just some new age concept. It's backed by quantum physics, neuroscience, and decades of research. We are just beginning to understand the true nature of consciousness and its role in creating reality.
This has been mind expanding. Any final thoughts on where to start?
Start with awareness. Notice your dominant thoughts and emotions throughout the day. Question your limiting beliefs. Take small aligned actions. And most importantly, remember that reality isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. The moment you truly grasp that, everything changes.